I'd like to show you how I made my super awesome brand new bathrobe. First, I just measured around at my waist. I took a measuring tape and I started here. I went this way, all the way around the back to here. And that measured 48 inches. Then I took the measuring tape and I just measured the back part of me, but very generously. I sort of came up a little bit towards the front on the sides because I wanted it to be roomy in the back, but you know, still sort of my size. And I took that number, 48 inches. I subtracted the back width, which was 18 inches. And then I took the difference, which was 30 inches, and divided it by 2 to get the front panel sizes, which would be 15 inches. And then I measured from the top of my shoulder down the widest part to where my waist is. And that was 15.5 inches. So I made a rectangle that was 15 inches wide and 15.5 inches tall. Here. I measured in 6 inches from the outside corner, like where my shoulder is. I measured in 6 inches, and then I drew a diagonal line from that 6 inches to the opposite corner. So it would go like this. So when the robe was finished, this side could go to here, and this side could go to here. And I folded the material so that when it was cut out, they'd be opposites. And they would lay like that together. The back was, I knew it was 18 inches wide, and I think I used the same 15.5 inch measurement tall. And I made a rectangle measuring that. I measured over 6 inches again, and then I measured down 2 inches, drew a curve, and that's the neckline. Now for the sleeves, I don't like sleeves that are super precise. I like a nice loose flowy sleeve. However, that did not work in this instance. So the measurements that I am using here initially for things, you don't really have to pay a ton of attention to as far as the arms and the sleeves are concerned, because I actually do fix it after trying it on and realizing, yikes, this isn't at all what I want. So for now, you don't need to pay attention to that. But what I did was I measured from here to like my armpit, just a little bit below, and I got about 10 inches. And so I measured down 10 inches, and then I took whatever curve I had, because I left all my rulers at the lake house. I took a curve and I just traced this really weird curve that just went like in a little bit and then up to there like that. Okay, so I then put this on here, measured to my 10 inches, and then cut out a matching armhole on the back. Okay, so I have my bodice pieces. I then sew them together, the shoulders and the side seams. So now it's all connected at the shoulders and the sides. For the waistband, I cut out 2 lengths of 48 inches by 3 inches. And I did that because I wanted to sandwich the bodice and the skirt between this waistband. So I didn't want to just fold it over. The graph paper is the right side, okay? That's the outside of the fabric, and then these plain lines are the inside of the fabric. So I took my one strip and I put it right side against wrong side. And I pinned it down, and then I did the same thing, right sides together on the back. And then I took the whole thing and I stitched down all the way around, all the way, this sandwich, all the way to here, okay? And then I folded everybody down and I ironed it down. Next, I did the sleeves. It's a square of 24 by 24. I measured down my arm here, and then I measured around my bicep, which was a loose 12. And so I doubled it. I don't know where I got that from. I just wanted to make sure it fit. I folded it in half. I traced the armhole up to this part where it starts to go back that way. And then sort of, I made a nice, this super high cap. That's what I did. This cap was way too high. Way too high. And then, of course, I did it for the right sleeve as well. I sewed these together. I base stitched the cap and then gathered it and sewed it in place. I'm not going to attach them right now because I do take them off later. Next is the skirt, which is this behemoth. I measured 72 inches, 1.5 what the waist was. So each front panel was 15 inches. So I measured this, I measured 17 inches, and then 8 inches from the outer edge, I made a dart with 1 inch on each side, and I went down 2 inches. This is ridiculous. It's too short, it's too wide, it's in the wrong place ultimately when the robe is on. So if I were to do this over again, I would just make this 15 inches. I would just keep it a flat panel. I wouldn't put this little bulge right where I have my little bulge. So that's stupid. And I did the same thing over here. So I'm just showing you what I did. That's how it is now. And then I left everything else for the back. I base stitched this back and gathered it until it fit the length of the waistband. I came out bunchy because it's a rectangle and it's not a circle. The next robe I make will be a circle skirt. And I bunched it down to fit into this little pocket here. Now with these, before I pushed this in there, I folded down like 1/4 inch on both sides and just ironed it down so that all I had to do was sandwich this in there. And I sewed these sides first, and I stopped here, and then I basted until I got to the marking here, and then I just sewed down this edge. Attach it, it's in there, everything's going great, et voila! I put it inside out. Well, the skirt is inside out. I measured from this point of the V up around my neck and down to the other V. And it ended up being 52 inches. So I made a strip 52 inches long by 8 inches, and then I folded it. So it was actually 4 inches. I tapered the corners to the fold. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Let's just say 10. Fold it in half this way and taper it. And you end up with something like this. I took the one side, one middle, and I sewed it to here. And then I sewed it all the way down to there. And then I sewed from there all the way down to here. And then all I had to do was fold this over and stitch down. Now I measured this skirt. It was 72 inches across and 41 inches down, because that's the length I wanted. And then I cut these strips. They are 3 inches, like the waistband. They're 3 inches thick and 41 inches long. And what I did here was I sewed right sides together on the front. Remember, this is backwards. This is right side. I sewed it down along this edge, and then I folded it over and put it in here as like a nice reinforced edge. And then I stitched down on the outside. And I did it on the other side too. Right sides together, sewed down the edge, flipped it around, and now this is the edge on the inside. Now to fix the sleeves, because these sleeves were too big. So I watched a tutorial on how to do the math for sleeves. My cap was too tall. So that's this. I only needed to go down 5 inches. This here, you want to take from your cap down to this line, the number of inches of half your armhole. So the whole armhole, say this is 20 inches hole that you measured. You need to measure 10 inches from here to this line. This is 10 inches. I would match that, and then wherever this ending point came, there. Same thing over here. Here, come in and go up. And then I drew a line from here to this corner. Here to this corner, because I wanted really wide sleeves. This is how I got the giant sleeve. So if you don't want it so giant, you could even taper it a little bit or just leave it straight. I also modified the sleeve holes. I had 6 inches here. I cut off these outer 3. So I cut from here down to the armhole, cut off 3 inches here. And I cut off 3 inches on this side. And that was all I needed to do to fix the sleeves. The sleeves fit perfectly after that. For the cuff, I have this strip that's 24 inches long, and it's 7 inches thick, but I folded it, so it's 3.5. I sewed the closed edge down along the inside of the sleeve, folded it over, and I just top stitched this bottom part. I did that for the right and the left. And then for the pockets, all I did was I put this on and I felt where my hands would go, and I marked it with safety pins. I took it off and I made sure that they matched each other and that they were same in relation to the waistband and whatever, the edge. I made 8 by 8 inch squares, and then I folded down each side 1/4 inch and then the top 1/2 inch, and I sewed down, over, and up with reinforcing these corners here, because that's going to get the most stress when you put your hands in your pockets. I sewed a button here, and I put a buttonhole here going the long way, like side to side, not up and down. And that's it. I hope that explained it. I actually have a plan to make another one in a different material, a lighter material for summer. I want to do a circle skirt, and I want to kind of try to figure out a hood. I'm not sure. And I don't want these wide gapey sleeves. And I'm okay with them on the bathrobe I made. But the next one I make is going to be a little flowier. Not so flannel.